that if one were to go to the market, if there was space, you'll be paying about 500 basis points more. So for $1 billion, that would be some $50 million each year, and a 10-year bond, that is $500 million that we additionally have to pay. And so managing our democracy and Parliament is going to be important for us to speak the same language direction that does not jeopardize or compromise the needs of the Republic. And I'm sure we all can take blame for that, but we'll move forward strongly as one people to be able to get there. Let me be clear today. The E-levy would impact mobile money transfers between accounts on the same electronic money issue, EMIs, mobile money transfers from an account on one EMI to a recipient on another EMI, transfers from bank accounts to mobile money accounts, transfer from mobile money accounts to bank accounts, and bank transfers on a digital platform application which originate from a bank account belonging to an individual to another individual. I emphasize that E-levy will not impact cumulative transfers of Ghana cedis 100 per day made by the same person, transfers between accounts owned by the same person, transfer for the payment of taxes, fees, and charges on the Ghana.gov platform, electronic clearing of checks, specified merchant payments, i.e. payments to commercial establishment registered with GRA for income tax and VAT purposes, and transfers between principal, master agent, and agent's account. Let me warn, though, that if there's a deliberateness and a realization that certain migrations are being done to avoid paying of E-levy, this is again the spirit of burden sharing, and we shall invoke appropriate administrative measures during that period.
So, yeah, that was part of what the finance minister had to say, by way of explaining what government sees as the need. So now that they've told us why, we can analyze their reasons. We can assess them dispassionately and figure out whether indeed what we're doing is the best option for Ghana in the current predicament in which we find ourselves. Raymond.
To be fair, the conversation about E-levy has always been problematic. I'm sure right from how made they think we're going to use it to first create jobs and all of that, when we know deep within our hearts just $1 billion cannot solve the problems of jobs in the country. It would actually be a drop in the ocean, let's be clear. But it is also me, the only thing that gets me comfort is the part they talk about how much taxes we are paying, how to spread it up, and how to make it work. Many have actually suggested that this is a lazy way of raising revenue. At some point in time, we should be discussing better ways of doing so. He, the finance minister, suggested some time ago a very wonderful way of doing this through property taxes and all of that. We have not seen a lot of work being done here. Perhaps because of the corner we find ourselves and we are in difficulty. I think he even admits it that it cannot be the full year right from the beginning of his commentary. And he also made the Fitch and all the other downgrades have made it look like our economy is heading for very tough times. So if you put it together, it is because government on one hand feels that we need to get through hook or crook, for others to see that we are trying to make in as much as possible, not because government truly and deeply believes the panacea to our problems. You have 105 billion that you seek to raise. 6 billion again sounds like a small portion, but it sends a signal that Ghana is bent on making sure it takes more taxes, more revenue from its people, reducing its dependence on external Eurobond, which the IMF is suggesting we are not likely to get, or Fitch is suggesting we are not likely to get in 2022, and most likely it's not even clear whether we'll get it in 2023. So I think that's the picture they are painting. Hopefully they are able to engage further with those in Parliament and explain to Ghanaians more. It is good that we are cutting expenditure. It will be better if we seal the loopholes in the system.
Okay. We're joined by Professor Lord Mensah. He's a financial economist at the University of Ghana Business School. Prof. Lord Mensah, it's a pleasure to speak to you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir, and good morning to our listeners.
Right. Now, Prof, obviously, the government from the very beginning has been quite clear that this is what is needed. In this statement, they paint a further picture of our predicament. We haven't really been doing well when it comes to our revenue to GDP ratio. Since 2016, we've only moved from about 11.3% to 12.5% in 2021. But our neighbors are doing better, 16 to 20% being their typical values for revenue to GDP. And then, of course, they paint the picture of a very poor tax-paying population. Out of the 30.8 million Ghanaians, only 2.4 million of us pay income tax. So as far as they are concerned, this is the only way to bridge the huge gap that we have looking at our budget. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, if you look at the dynamics of the Ghanaian economy, you understand that government has been in business all this while. If you take the architecture of the Ghanaian economy, which involves the government, businesses, and individuals, you clearly understand that it's government that has been spending. It's government that has been sourcing for funds without necessarily extending the economy to the private man and then individuals. And so the attempt of, introducing seem to be facing, if you look at our structure, you understand that since government is the one doing business, government tries to, raise taxes through, labor that it has engaged. Now, you made mention of the population that is paying tax. It's the same population that are engaged by the government. Most of us on the government payroll are the ones, paying taxes. So over the years, the effort to engage the private man, at the same time individuals to come up with their businesses so that we can capture them into the tax net, has been slow over the years. And as a result of that, very few are the ones paying the taxes. And you also have to understand that for the past 5 years, government has been doing a lot of investment into the electronic platform. And as a result of that, government may want to reap from that sector. But that investment has not been extended to the private man's economic activity, to the individual economic activity, i.e. creating jobs for other agents of the economy apart from the government himself. So effectively, it's a sign that we're all expecting it, that where government has invested, it may want to, reap from there. But the E platforms are not necessarily creating, employment. It is not necessarily enhancing, bank transactions for the banks to come up to say that over the years, this is what we have made as a result of, the introduction of some of these, investment you have done. So government seems to be facing that kind of, resistance by introducing this, E-levy. So if you ask me whether that is the best way to go about it, I will say that I think it's a bit harsh to jump to that 1.75, especially when we have a history of, collecting revenue for a purpose and the monies are not used for that purpose. Because in the budget, appropriation bill, we have something we call reappropriation, which it tells you that, we are working within the 1 billion work frame of expenditure. But within it, I can move funds from one point to the other within that 1 billion without necessarily extending to the 1 billion. And that's what has been affecting this country. Anytime we do that reappropriation, it is politically motivated and it ends up in inefficient, sectors. So I would have loved the government to run this, e-levy policy as a project for which they will roll it out in phases. So maybe phase one, we're starting from, 1%, for which at the end of the day, you identify certain projects. And I believe, the current administration is good in sloganeering, for which you can say, okay, fine, e-levy hospital. Because a typical Ghanaian wants to see evidence of what his contribution to the nation is doing. I listened to the finance minister. He indicated that we need to do burden sharing. And burden sharing, fine, we do accept that. But we want to see evidence of what our monies are doing. So therefore, come up with certain, e-levy roads. And then say that, okay, fine. In the neighborhood that I live, we have what we call e-levy road. You tax me the 1%, and I see the 1% working, giving me roads, creating jobs for my brother, so that my brother does not come to ask me money in the next 2 months. I mean, e-levy hospital. I see people going to the hospital comfortably, getting beds to sleep on. Then you can move to 1.25, which I'm ready to pay, because at that time you've whet my appetite to that extent. So if you can run it out for about 3 phases, which by the end of the year, you would have hit, the 1.75. I know you need it within the fiscal year, but tax policies are not policies that you may look at it within a certain fiscal year. You may roll it up for about 5 years and achieve the target you want.
Now, so from what I'm getting, your suggestion would be that if they are going to go with an e-levy, it should be, first of all, a smaller percentage, and it should be targeted so that we can see a direct link between what is collected and what it is used for.
Yes.
Have I summarized your point
yes,
correctly?
You have done it perfectly.
All right. Now, I suppose the question is, bearing in mind the size of the problem government wants to solve. I mean, they are not targeting. They are looking at the whole situation. In fact, in paragraph 18 of the statement, they ask this question. They say, what is the most efficient way to bring all Ghanaians into the tax net to build a Ghana beyond aid that we and our children and grandchildren will be proud? So they are looking at the very, very, very big picture and are using the e-levy as a solution for this. But my question is, since they themselves recognize that out of the 30.8 million Ghanaians, only about 2.4 million people pay income taxes, is that not rather the taxation problem we should be solving? Should we not rather be trying to figure out how to make sure that all Ghanaians who earn income pay income tax?
Yeah, I think for that, we are on course. If you look at the identification investment we are doing, it's a process. And you heard the government, Bank of Ghana, coming out saying that from now on, transactions at the bank, you need to use your national identification card. A time will come, some of the tax handles will be placed at the banking hall. And I foresee that in the near future. Now, that can also help in expanding, the tax net. We've also been doing this investment. A time will come when you pay your worker through the Momo, and already the e-levy will capture you. So in a way, it's an expansion of the tax. It's a form of expanding the tax net. But as we speak now, if we introduce the e-levy, it's not going to affect those people down there because of the threshold that we've capped this e-levy for. A transaction above 100 Ghana is what is going to attract this e-levy. So effectively, we seem to be on course in that direction. But the question of looking at the demand, in terms of quantum of money that we need for our development. Now, the e-levy that the government wants to collect, let me make it clear here. I believe, and my understanding economically is that if you look at the expenditure side of the government's the budget, you realize that there are some expenditures that government hasn't got control over. So things like salary, and those ones, their projections are easy because the salary expenditure for this year. Going forward, if you will increase it by 7%, you just, increase by 7%. It is very, very easy. Interest payment, for sure. But there is a component which is, at the beckon of the, the government, which is the, one of them is the capital expenditure. The government has control over that one. And this E-levy is going to fill in. But if you look at a target of about 7 billion, that is almost about 60% of the capex. If you look at the budget that was read, recently for this year. So government, by hook or crook, must get that money to fill in that discretionary expenditure. And that is where the danger is. And I've been drumming and telling you earlier on that, look, let's get because it is not clear, looking at the array of activities that has been earmarked for this E-levy. You understand that government wants to get hold of that 7 billion target for the E-levy, and then they can go on with that kind of, expenditure they usually do. But I want a project-based, which will be tied directly to this E-levy. Because if you look at the budget statement, we were not clear as to which portion will be creating the employment that we're talking about, the U-Start project and all those. Which portion will go into roads, as we've already removed, those route tolls and all those. We are not clear on the percentages, and it is very, very dangerous. So if the government is targeting this discretionary expenditure filled-in revenue, which is the E-levy, I want the government to come out to say that, hey, look, I'm going to use 10% for this. And thereon, all projects that are coming out from this E-levy, we'll be targeting, we'll be label them E-levy hospital, E-levy roads. Just give them the E-levy infrastructure so that we can know the use of this fund.
In the budget, there was some communication about what they intend to use
but the percentages were not there, Koyo.
Right. So you want some quantified
exactly.
Direction.
I'm a mathematician,
Okay. Now, I noticed something in paragraph 33 of the statement that was issued by the Finance Ministry yesterday, and it pointed to a certain risk, and I wonder how you react to it. I want to read directly. So in paragraph 33, it says, here we are. Undeniably, digitalization is eroding the traditional resilience of brick and mortar enterprises. With fewer transactions happening across the counter, there is an increased risk that some of the standard revenue generation and tax measures will gradually become obsolete. It continues in 34 to conclude that it is clear that government must adopt a revenue mobilization approach befitting the evolving digital age. And then in 35, thus the E-levy was born out of a careful study of current trends in this rapidly evolving digital age and is specific on the transactions on which it will be applied. Is this to suggest that one of the unintended side effects of digitalization is that we may have to replace some of the existing taxes with the E-levy and other sort of digitally collected taxes?
Yeah, that is how it's supposed to be.
So we'll have to get rid of some of the existing taxes.
Come again?
So
no, it's not that government may want to get rid of existing taxes, but it's a gradual phase out. Normally tax handles are placed at, sectors of the economy or areas of the economy where there is economic vibrancy. And that is why I always say that, government cannot reap from where it has not sown. If you look at expenditure and revenue, as a measure of efficiency, that expenditure is input and the revenue is an output. But then it might not happen instantaneously, that when you put in the expenditure, you are going to get the revenue. Some may come up within a fiscal year. Some revenues may be realized as a result of certain expenditure in the next 5 years. And then sometimes it might not even meet a particular political regime. But then, if you go through this carefully, you will come to understand that clearly, I mean, wherever the economic activity is stronger, that is where tax handles are placed. And so that risk of, moving away from our usual way of taxation, which we normally sometimes, go around collecting, sometimes we do some legwork, and others it has to go through certain hands. In a way, there are risk factors that goes with it because as a result of leakages. Because when funds are moving from one point to the other, the more points you move the fund, the more likely you can have leakages. And we are fortunate to find ourselves in that digital age, which is creating economic activity. But the unfortunate thing is that the investment government has done in this, in the digital platform, is not yielding the necessary employment. It's not yielding the economic activity that calls for, the taxes to be placed on that platform. But I can tell you that is the future. We're moving to a point where, taxes are going to be electronic. And so we should brace ourselves for that. It's not that it's a bad thing. If we continue to maintain our, usual way of collecting taxes, we may end up, losing out. And that is where the risk is, as the statement, indicate. So we have to gradually be moving. And it should be a gradual process to phase out, the brick and mortar type of taxation. It shouldn't be that kind of instantaneous thing.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Professor Lord Mensah. He's a financial economist at the University of Ghana Business School, and we're doing an assessment of the Finance Ministry's justification of the E-levy. We'll take some messages. When we come back, we'll engage Prof. Lord Mensah on even more of what has been shared by the Finance Ministry. Stay with us.
He wants. What's the wedding easy? Oh, you butu ankasa.
Messi, Lufat na wajima where you?
Hey, malaria drew Lufat. Jama wedding where your hospital.
Sister, where I imagine there, few hours to my wedding. Na Messi semu huma yeshepe. Minkata was mikuniya. My husband is sick.
Hey, Jama tornado. Na basi no yen.
What's the water tested positive for malaria?
No, na benti one for ambulance na one.
Ambulance. It's not a bicycle.
Hey, no, nyasi from Kakabo.
No, kick crack. Me wedding gonna me make up nina. Sometimes.
That's right.
Nearest pharmacy. So wanna meji Lufat.
Entrance pharmaceuticals for one malaria druna.
Inyo. No ye na wanter. Mukuno china nenadri. Abrante pa.
Ije. No kuniso. No pona waka that you may kiss the bride. If you want to show day.
No, donna. Man, no, you don't know.
Indeed, woman malaria and kawon to them. Lufat. A malaria drop a cup. Sa igagin kratwi. FDA Shimaja to Musa eye.
Malcolm Super Saver Card has taken Market Day Wednesday shopping to another level.
It's easy. Get registered on the Malcolm Super Saver Card at any Malcolm branch nationwide
and enjoy 5% discount on purchases worth 150 Ghana cedis and above every day.
10% discount on purchases worth 250 Ghana cedis and above every first and third Wednesday of each month.
Super Saver Card.
The original CD Saver.
Terms and conditions apply. Errors and omissions accepted.
Malcolm. Where Ghana shops.
Do not improvise an auto gas cylinder. Make sure the auto gas cylinder is properly installed by a qualified technician. Always keep a fire extinguisher handy in case of a fire. Stand at a safe distance and attack the base of the flames. Avoid decanting LPG from one cylinder to the other. Domestic transfer of LPG should be avoided. Cars fitted with auto gas cylinders should be filled at the appropriate filling stations. A message from the National Petroleum Authority.
Jam, why you make quiet like that?
Oh, Charlie, I'll go do some POP, give somebody where the cornice is not fine, cry.
I always they tell you, say, for decorative roses and cornices, the solution be interface. Them have different imported cornices and roses in different designs and shapes. Installing them be so easy, and it go give your customer the finishing he wants.
Oh, Jam, take me go Interface right now before I lose this customer.
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274 999999 or visit our website at
www.interfacelimited.net. Facebook Interface Limited GH. Instagram interface.limited.
Provident Insurance welcomes you to a new year. Remember to insure your new car or renew your existing motor insurance from the 1st of January to the 31st of March. You can win free gifts such as fuel coupons and several other branded Provident souvenirs. Rush for insurance cover now. Terms and conditions apply. With Provident, man, you are covered.
It's the most action-packed breakfast show in town. The hottest music, the best giveaways, the great interviews, and all the laughter and fun you can imagine. Don't miss the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. It's the best breakfast show in town.
Welcome back. It's the Super Morning Show on Joy, and we're analyzing what we've been told by the Finance Ministry as the justification for the E-levy. Professor Lord Mensah from the University of Ghana Business School joins us for that exercise, and we'll be engaging him more in just a moment. But first, the Barstow School, established in 1884, one of the oldest schools in Kansas City, America, is welcoming you to their Ghana campus. It's Ghana's finest American international school, offering the America and GES curricula. They fit their children into the top best universities in the world, so enroll your child now in the best international school in Ghana, shaping the dreams of their future leaders, of our future leaders. You see them as your children, but they see them as professionals. Admission is in progress right now for the Barstow School. So the Barstow School says, start here, go everywhere. They are at number 102 Shandorf Street, Abilinkpe in Accra, and their phone number is 0277 070020.
And the UPSA Law School, in collaboration with CATS International, is pleased to invite you to the Africa Trade Roundtable 3 under the theme, The Relevance of AFTA's Competition Protocols on Ghana's Industrial Transformation. And the event will bring together experts on competition policy and law, competition, economists, academia, private sector and civil society to share ideas on the type and form of competition policy and law that would work best for Ghana, ECOWAS, and the Pan-African Common Market under AFTA. The special guest of honor for the Africa Trade Roundtable 3 is the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Herbert Krapper. Now, the event comes off on Tuesday, the 25th of January 2021 at 9 a.m., and the venue is the West Wing of the UPSA Auditorium. Right, so let's get back to Professor Lord Mensah. Now, Professor Mensah, you've been talking about, the fact that we should think of running this in phases. Let's get back to that particular bit about phases. And so we know that the government is talking about telcos, accepting to reduce the service charge by 0.25%. So now it becomes 0.75%. Is that not the reason, more than ever, that government should also, staying away from the phases, should be reducing it now that the persons who develop the service are themselves reducing the charges?
Yeah, well, you see, the government has a target, as I've indicated to you. If we should go by the budget without E-levy, you realize that the government, discretionary spending will be reduced, because immediately you remove interest rate payment and then you take off, salary payments. Everything is gone. Almost everything is gone. So what is available for the government to roll out directly into its own policies will become a problem. And so they have a target which they know very well that the 1.75 is supposed to give them. And if the telcos are absorbing the 0.25% out of it, which the net effect on the citizen is going to be around 1.5. The government knows very well that, through maybe corporate tax, negotiations with the corporate bodies, they can rake in back the 2.5 that is being lost in that direction. So effectively, I mean, they know what they are looking for. But you see, we're not looking at this from the perspective of the corporate bodies and then the government alone. We are looking at the citizens who are going to pay for this.
Exactly.
E-levy. And then the possible risk that goes with it. Because we are now penetrating the electronic market. We are now developing the appetite for electronic transactions. So any attempt to keep, the E-levy to a certain threshold has a tendency of discouraging people from using that platform.
Okay.
So effectively, we have to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Our, electronic penetration is at a very sensitive stage. Very sensitive stage. A stage where if you don't take care, my brother who is at the village, my brother who is at the below a certain threshold of income will be discouraged from using, this platform.
So, Dr. Mensah,
we have to be
Prof.
careful with this.
Yes, Prof. But making that particular point, you've talked about government having a target. We'll come back to this. You talked about government having a target. Now, that is not in doubt. Government has a target. Now, the finance minister makes the point that today interest payments plus, wages and salaries plus statutory payments would take, it to about 146% of our tax revenue from the previous 143%. Let's look at something here. You have discretionary and non-discretionary expenditure. So even though government has a target, we're faced with a challenge. Why shouldn't we be looking at where we can cut expenditure? So the discretionary expenditure, why don't we look at goods and services? As hard as it may be, why don't we also begin to even look at our capital expenditure because of the situation we find ourselves in?
Listen,
Prof.
It is very, very easy to, say things like this, but then difficult.
Why is it
the
difficult?
The reason I'm saying, and you heard me laugh, is that the discretionary expenditure, that is what gives the executive power. That is what gives the policy maker power. Because if the policy maker says to you that he will give you this road, and he comes to give it to you, he knows that the citizens will trust him more than, anything. Mm-hmm. So effectively, that is why they have control. And that is why they are insisting that they come in for that, 7 billion target of, E-levy, as I've indicated earlier. So, government might have targets, but my subject to your question is that economically, as you said, it makes sense to cut down expenditure on some discretionary, areas. But politically, it will not be wise to that.
What we are faced with is an economic challenge. So why don't we take economic decisions?
Well, I'm not a politician anyway, but I can tell you that how we look at the economy as we sit there with one lens is different from there. But then it's unfortunate sometimes we are not able to balance it. And I always say that once you are elected to power and you are managing the economy, you wear it too hard. So you should be able to find a way to balance the situation in such a way that you will not be driven too much politically, but then also remember economic aspects as managing the economy. But you see, I tell you that the situation in Ghana, when it comes to spending, it has always been politically motivated. So we shouldn't go there. The history is not on our side to say that we are taking economic decisions, so therefore we should follow through on everything when it comes to economic management, economically.
Again, historically it's been political, but when you're faced with the challenges of today, you must begin to review the decisions you've made in the past, and which would include political decisions. And somebody would say, so today we have a chance to right the wrongs of the past, and that would be taking economic decisions. But let's move on. And in moving on, you have also, suggested that we roll it out in phases. But let me take you to another point. The finance minister makes the point that, look, what we are faced with today, if we go onto the international market, of course, because of the downgrading of our, ratings, what it means, our creditworthiness, what it means is that we are going to be borrowing at a higher interest. Certainly, that would not make a lot of sense. So we'd have to look within. How long can we look within when it comes to borrowing? Some have said, why don't we just put everything aside, walk to the World Bank, get policy credibility, which also would go a long way in helping us have a bit of reduce interest rates on the world market?
Whether we'll have the confidence to go back to the World Bank. We're at the World Bank some few years ago, and they came with certain conditions, and those conditions even pushed some government out of power, and they gave us certain targets, including our budget deficit of 5% to GDP. I mean, when we're about to run up, the IMF program, we're so quick and happy to come out of IMF, thinking that when we come out of IMF, we'll be on our own and start rolling out policies that will start creating employment. Because remember, employment was freezed at the government sector for some time.
Yeah.
Now, we moved out of IMF. We were inching closer to the 5% of GDP. And the reason why I'm stressing on the budget deficit is that is where the business is. Because that is what will determine whether we are going to borrow. And when we go and borrow from the external market, because the investor is far away, the money comes to our bosom, and then paying, existing debt out of it, whatever is left is at our discretionary. So quickly, we came out from IMF, and then we jumped, our budget deficit to 11%. You can go back, just to give us enough room to borrow. So, as for the international market, it's a no-go zone area. We've been to IMF before, and I tell you, when we go to IMF now, we're going to expose ourselves. Our communication to IMF is that we're not disciplined enough when it comes to management of our funds. As for IMF, we can go. So when they come and they come in a form of rescue, trust me, the peanuts they're going to give you, the stringent economic measures they will put in place for you to follow, I don't think this country can follow it. So we have to be careful how we drum in at, reverting to IMF and all this. Then consistently it tells you that every 5 years, every 4 years, you're going to go to IMF. Then they have to make sure that they increase some of the restrictions when it comes to your spending. And I don't think the country can stand that,
while you say the country cannot stand that, is that what the country needs?
You see, Winston, we need that. We need that. But you see, remember what happened during the previous administration, going to IMF, the unemployment situation. So it was like the government became enemy of the state. And in the end, we had to quickly, and some politicians also took advantage of it, and that brought them to power. The situation is different. I don't think they will gather that confidence to go. But then if they go back to IMF, the economic consequence is going to be, serious.
So today, the finance minister yesterday told all of us the reasons why we have to pay. You say we should make it in phases, so an indication that you believe at this point we have to pay the E-levy. It's the only way out for us.
Yeah, for me, as for taxes, we can't jump out of it. Because, you see, it's unfortunate to be drumming of taxes for a resource-endowed country like Ghana. We've spent up so much. If you go to the advanced world and then other parts of the world where they don't have much resources and they are tapping into the human resource activities to build their country in the form of taxes, I understand them. But Ghana, we have the resources, but Mismanagement has brought us to this stage. And I can tell you that, we have no choice. As for taxes, I'm all for it. For nothing at all, when you lose, your resources, you have to rely on your human resource activities, and which is built around taxes. And so we need it. I'm all for it.
Finally, somebody would say
should be considered.
Okay, someone would say the argument would be so. The finance minister says 2.4 million, 2.8 million, Ghanaians pay income taxes. Woefully inadequate. We should be thinking of getting more Ghanaians to be paying direct taxes. But the question is, introducing indirect taxes, the tax experts say, introducing indirect taxes is not an answer to your inability to increase the number of persons who pay direct taxes. Shouldn't we be focusing on getting more people to pay direct taxes, income taxes?
Well, you see, Winston, like I said earlier, government has been holding the economy to its chest for some time. For you to, introduce direct taxes, it comes with certain investments. I've indicated to you that the expenditure we do on the budget and then the revenue is an input-output thing, which is used to measure efficiency. And so, if government has been holding the economy to its chest for some time, the private sector are not able to borrow to create jobs as expected. The investment that we are doing to collect, revenue through identifications and all those that we've done are not converging. Direct taxes will be difficult to implement as we speak now. But then the indirect taxes has the structures in place already, for which in the end it will be easy to implement. So putting all this together, government will say, okay, fine, quickly let me go indirect. With time, when things, comes up, all together, we can start doing so it all has to do with cost-benefit analysis.
Okay. Well, Professor Lord Mensah, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. We're very grateful to you, Professor.
You're welcome, sir.
Lord Mensah is a financial economist at the University of Ghana Business School. So, time now to hear from you. You've heard the Minister of Finance. He's been making the case. You've heard Professor Lord Mensah. He's also made the point that, look, as it stands now, one of the things we have to do is to be paying the E-levy. Well, when we return after these messages, we'll activate the phone lines for you so you could join us and tell us whether now you're prepared to pay the E-levy on 0302 216 541 and then 055 1111 997.
Charlie, say DSTV they do something give you anytime you upgrade your DSTV package. From DSTV family to compact, DSTV go carry you go compact plus straight. It means say more series, more movies, more fun. Wow! Bro, so upgrading from compact to compact plus they mean say you go get a step up straight to premium. That be front row seat for your favorite football teams live.
Bro, make you sign me up.
Make you step up to the next level on us. Upgrade your current DSTV package and we go step you up to the next highest package at no extra cost. DSTV, it's your moment.
What would you do if you have the choice to do anything in life? Build your dream house, take very good care of your family, and plan for a comfortable retirement. Plan a befitting funeral for your loved ones when they depart. How would you live if you knew there was a friend waiting to support you on all of your life's choices?
You have such a friend in Glyco Life Insurance. Glyco Life has all the plans to meet your life's needs. Your child's education, your life savings, your mortgage, funerals, redundancy, and your retirement, and takes the burden off your shoulders. So go ahead and live life to the fullest today with Glyco Life Insurance plans. And remember that all our policies are hedged against inflation. Talk to Glyco Life on 0302 218 500 or 246 142. Also visit our website at www.glycolife.com or any of our branches nationwide for more information.
Glycolife, we cushion you for life.
Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Step Step up your entertainment from the 5th of January 2022. Already on GoTV Value? Then upgrade to GoTV Plus to watch GoTV Max. Or if you're on GoTV Plus, upgrade to GoTV Max to enjoy GoTV Super. Don't wait. Reconnect and step up your GoTV package today via the My GoTV app. Remember, we upgrade you to the next higher package for free. Terms and conditions apply. GoTV, love it.
It's the most action-packed breakfast show in town. The hottest music, the best giveaways, the great interviews, and all the laughter and fun you can imagine. Don't miss the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. It's the best breakfast show in town.
All right, you've already started to send through your tweets and your WhatsApps about this question. You've heard the explanation of the Finance Ministry of why the E-levy. Now that you've heard that explanation, are you willing to pay? We'll be opening the phone line shortly. In fact, let's do that now. 0302 216 541 055 111 So Nagaja says a fixed salary income economy where you always wake up to hear taxes like E-levy kills your spirit to die for your nation. At 11 AZ Pilicuetas says it is insensitive regardless of and illegal. At M. Nessa Peter says E-levy must wait. We're not in normal times. Boutros is on the line. Boutros, good morning. Hello, Boutros.
Boss.
Yes, Chief. How are you?
Yeah, boss. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
And to you.
Yes. Well, I think that we have gone back and forth about this E-levy thing, and that in itself must demonstrate clearly to this government that the average Ghanaian are not willing to pay this particular tax. For any financial person to have conceived a tax of 1.75 levy on a E-levy transaction can only be motivated by insatiable greed to steal from the state, from the citizenry. We think that on the back of COVID-19, a sensible government, what a sensible government will do is to decrease the profligate spending that they have done. The $17,000 that they used to charter plane and be walking all over the country is what that you have to cut. A dot to come and tax us. If you think that you need money to prosecute your agenda, what you have to do is to come to Ghanaians, tell us that no, you are sorry for mismanaging the country and all of that. And at this point, you have to go to IMF. And I think that any Ghanaian would accept this. But to refuse to go to IMF and tell us to pay 1.7 thousand by force. Why? What is this? The service providers who are providing these services are charging us 1%. Why are you telling us that you want to charge 1.75%? And we have told you that we are not happy with it, and you still are bent on doing this thing. We are clear in our minds that this tax will not be paid. Whatever they have to do to get their money to prosecute whatever they want to do, they must do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Boutros. Let's go to Kumasi and talk to Kofi Bedu. Hi, Kofi Bedu. Good morning. Right, we've lost Kofi Bedu, but you can call us to 0302 216 541 055 111 997. At Brad Tony tweets, educate me, but won't this E-levy thing worsen the economy? At Ibrahim Sumani says, for the ordinary Ghanaian worker, E-levy will amount to double taxation on the already taxed income. Our government should not behave like giving out something with the right hand and taking it back with the left hand. More innovative tax collection should be employed, and that instead. All right, thanks for that. Ernest is in Sunyane. Ernest, good morning.
Good morning, and how are you doing?
How are you, Ernest?
I'm doing very well, by the grace of God.
Wonderful. So talk to us. What's on your mind?
So, There is something I do not understand here. If the government say is poor, they do not have the resources, what makes them think that we the people are rich? I seriously don't get this. We don't print money. So if you are having challenges, you think somehow the economy isn't right. How do you come to that conclusion that we the people, okay, who suffer from your policies would somehow be better off? I seriously don't get this.
All right.
I'm struggling to understand. I mean, if maybe you can educate me sincerely, I do not understand.
Okay, Ernest, thank you very much for sharing your question. Of course, we will, in the course of these conversations, continue to explain what government's position is. Hopefully it will answer your question. If it doesn't, then I guess that means you're not satisfied with the idea. Claude is in Tema. Hi, Claude. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kojo.
My brother, talk to us.
Yeah, Kojo, I'm wondering if we go to the IMF for budget support. I don't think it's for free. We need to pay, and that will build up our debt, and then we complain. But then, like we know, there are so many people who are not paying any tax on their income, but they work. They shift money from place to place through mobile money, Momo, and things. I think we need to look at it critically and see how we can harness as much as money we can to develop the country. Because if we keep on criticizing government policy, I think we should show where the government can get money from. As for the airline issue, I think we need to interrogate it further. Because if government were using its own plane as compared to the hired plane, what is the difference? Sometimes for expediency's sake, you need to do some of these things. But the E-levy, I think, is getting to a time people will have to contribute toward the development of the country, you know.
All right, Claude, thank you very much for sharing. Let's go to Accra and talk to Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah. First of all, did I hear Professor, is it Lokote or something, say that because it is tax, we have to take it? In fact, we need to know which type of tax in the first place is E-levy. Because if I find it really difficult to say that the mode of payment that I choose to use would determine whether I pay a tax to somebody who is not the service provider at all. Is government the service provider? He is not. So why are we being taxed for choosing to use an electronic medium? Mind you, what we have not averted our minds to is those who do this, apart from the Momo. If you wanted to do a bank transaction online from your account to another account, first of all, you need data to do that. That data, you are already paying communication tax for choosing to use the internet. Then you choose to do that transaction by that platform. You are being taxed 17.5 for doing that transfer. How? In fact, I don't understand. They need to. I expected the finance minister yesterday to address certain things. There was a video going around. They said it's from, is it Cameroon or Uganda, which said that your E-levy is like taxing the money in your wallet. We expected them because that thing was so basic that the ordinary Ghanaian understood it. What was the finance minister's answer to that video? He said nothing. And from his speech, it means that government has not even moved. What they have said is what they have said. In fact, we will tell our parliamentarians, we will advise ourselves if they should approve the E-levy. That's all.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for sharing. Let's go to Adabraka. Hi, Maxwell. Good morning.
Hi, Kojo. How are you?
Okay, thank you. So, has the finance ministry convinced you?
We're talking about employment here. Have you wondered where all the juice tax that is used to export cocoa from this country to abroad comes from? It's all imported from India. Are we creating employment for Indians? We have a juice factory in Kumasi, which is lying fallow. Can't we put some money retool this factory, get young boys to start working, engineers to start working, farmers to plant jute? You see, I think we are getting our priorities wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxwell. Yao Apia is in Accra. Hi, Yao.
Yeah, Kojo. Yeah, I don't know. People keep on saying, expand the tax net, expand the tax net. Now they've introduced something which is bringing everybody on board. People are still complaining. I don't get it. For me, when paying tax, I'm just like any other person. You may not be so happy with it, especially when you don't see the impact and you see politicians who are rich overnight. It does not motivate you. If this particular one will be ring-fenced, possibly for one or two projects, maybe for the Agenda 111 or for roads, at least its impact, we all see it. This is a country we have oil. We don't see what they use the oil for. We have gold. We don't see what they use it for. All what we see is few politicians becoming rich overnight. We knew them very well. Okay? And so, what else can, I don't know. But for me, all what I think we should do is that, well, let's go ahead, but make sure that this particular one, just as Lord was suggested, maybe eat something or eat something, so that we will all see. If it is going to happen like that, then we are all for it. I think majority of Ghanaians will be okay with that one.
Thank you, Yao. Let's go to Kumasi. Hi, Ken. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Not bad at all, Ken. Talk to us.
For me, I want to ask this question, which is, are we finished with it, or is the country finished with the national resources? Are our resources finished that we can't use it to develop the nation? You see, for me, I want people, when you get an opportunity, you should ask this, our leaders, our so-called leaders, this question. But if we are suffering, if there's no money to develop the nation, then why can't they reduce their entitlement or benefit? Because this is a situation whereby you are in a house, you are the leader, you are the father, and then there's no money to feed your children and your wife. And you go out there, like somebody made the example, you go out there, buy these luxurious things, buy fresh food, and then eat outside. And come home, clean your mouth, and tell your children and your wife that, oh, this is the situation, I don't have any money with me. Who are you at all? Definitely you are a criminal. You have no sense of humor. Because it's too bad. God save Ghana.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Ken. Bishop is in Asante Mampong. Bishop, good morning.
Yeah, Kojo, how are you?
Very well, thank you, my boss.
I have two things to talk about. One, yesterday, when the finance minister was briefing the press, what he said was about Greater Accra contributing to 90%, and the other 15 regions 10%. We should be clear here. If we take GCB Bank Ghana Limited, if we take other corporate bodies that are national in character, their taxes and what have you are paid in Accra, and they are in all the regions. So they should come clear. letting it look as if the other regions are not contributing much to the revenue of Ghana. Because if GCB Bank Limited, which I'm taking as an example, is paying in Accra, all the other branches throughout the country, they wouldn't pay. They are paying for all of them. So that's what makes Greater Accra 90%. Number two, Kojo, I am a government worker. I pay income tax at the end of every month. I pay not less than 900 Ghana every month. 900 Ghana every month from my deduction, income tax. Then the leftover, that becomes mine. In my account, I pick it, I want to send to my relatives in Salaga, Saboba, Volga, through Momo. And you want to tax that money again? Meanwhile, when I go to pick the money from the bank, I have what they call electronic charges. And they take other charges from my transaction in the bank. And then E-levy again will take it. So at the end, all my monies will be taxes. They will follow what they tax already to tax again through Momo. I beg. Well, they should forget about the E-levy. And otherwise, we'll also learn not to send money through Momo. And we'll only go and pick our money from the bank. And we'll stop electronic transactions.
Thanks for sharing, Bishop. And let's go back to Kumasi. And this is another Kofi. Hi, Kofi.
Hi, Kojo. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Kofi.
Good. Kojo, government admits that there is hardship in this country. But if there's hardship in this country and you're burdening it with so many, taxes, example, this is E-levy, for instance. If government pushes it on us, then I think government does not appreciate the hardship that people are going through. You know why they are struggling to pass this E-levy? It is because they themselves have not cut down their expenditure. So, Mr. Minister, Finance Minister, please advise the president to cut down the budget of the presidency up here. Just this morning, that some ministries have had their budget cut down by 20%. I want this to track it down to the ministry, the presidency itself. If they do, cut down the expenditure of the presidency and also trickle it out to the ministry, to the MPs, people will appreciate you this E-levy. Because we will sympathize with you. But if you don't do this and you keep on saying, yes, there's hardship, and you put this on it, I don't think that you appreciate the hardship that people are going through. So you better do that for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kofi. All right, let's go to Tema and take a call. Ajiman, how are you?
I'm very well, Kofi. I hope you're doing well.
Not bad at all.
I like the way you allow the DJ to put some music inside the show.
You see?
I think the E-levy is here to stay. It's coming to help all of us. We say we are borrowing too much. We need to develop our country by our own pocket. When you go to church, they put the board there. Ibima, put something inside so that we do church project. It's for us all. But my issue is between the government and the telcos. They should sit down and discuss and go into a conclusion. How many percent should be deducted from our usage of the airtime and the data? Because as I'm talking to you, I've stopped using data for one particular network because the way now they are taking their data back is too much. It looks as if in Ghana here, when government is doing something to help us all, then they say, okay, we allow it to flow, but the consumer should suffer. You see, we should be patriotic in a certain sense. And if I want to sound a bit political, this is our NDC people who are criticizing this. If they were to be NDC, they would do it. The percentage that they are talking about, maybe they want the percentage to come down so that when they come, they will add DS. But they know very well that this yield will help us. So I think we should support it, but it shouldn't affect any of us negatively. God will do.
Forgive us a bit of a technical mishap there. Thank you, Ajiman. And of course, let's stay in Tema and speak to Kobe. Hi, Kobe. Good morning.
Hi, Kojo. Good morning.
Thanks for calling.
Please, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Kojo, I have a simple statement to make. This E-levy thing, I think that the issue is if only the government will put it to good use, I think people will be ready to pay, because when we pay taxes and you're not using it for the right thing, then people will be agitated in paying them. So I think that if only the government will put our taxes and then we'll see it, we'll feel it, that this is what our taxes are being used for, then I think that whatever taxes that the government will pay. Because when you go outside to the European countries, they are doing well. It is all out of taxes. And the people are enjoying it because they know that when I pay so much of tax, so much is expected of the government for me to also have a wonderful life in the country we are living. Thank you, Efu.
Thank you, Efu Kobi from Tema. All right, let's take one more call. Hi, Peter. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Not bad, thank you, Peter. Where are you calling us from?
Clote College.
Oh, just down the road. Okay, yes. Peter, what's on your mind?
My brother, thank you so very much. I don't know why people are still criticizing this E-levy. Is it because people don't want to pay tax or what? Must we continue to, use that old system of taxation? Now that people have moved from saving in the bank to mobile money, do we continue to take our taxes from this old system? I don't know why people. I want to stand up one day and hear that the ministers, the MPs, especially the MPs and the speaker, have said that for 3 months they won't take their salary. I want to hear that one day, so that we know that yes, indeed they have the country at that. Why must they continue to move forth and back about this E-levy? Now they are saying that it should be one time something, but the telcos themselves already take every transfer you do. So why are they criticizing? Why is the minority pushing so because of politics? They are doing everything possible to push out this E-levy. So why or how do they want the government to develop this country? My brother, the minority to be careful about the way they criticize things in the parliament. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for calling. Thanks to all of you for calling to share your thoughts on this. Interesting reactions to the Finance Ministry's explanation of why an E-levy must be charged. Okay, stay with us. There's more. But first, let me remind you something big is happening next week, and I hope you're ready for it. Let me ask you, what do you get when you cross a world-class life insurance company with a banking giant? Well, if you're not sure, just watch out for the big news in the coming days. If you want to know more, call 0302-267-892 or just go to allianz-gh.com. Allianz Life, we secure your future. All right, then, listen, thanks for all your text messages. I'll read a few more in a moment. Text messages on the Super Morning Show are brought to you by the Glyco Critical Illness Plan, GSIP. It's in your best interest to survive. So Kingdom Books and Stationery have made shopping easy with kingdomstoreonline.com. It's hassle-free. You can buy any of their products from there. They will deliver to your home or office free of charge if you're in Accra or Tema. And of course, you can pay for anything via Momo across all networks. Terms and conditions do apply. At Kingdom, quality and affordability is their hallmark. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy. Stay with us.
Mr. J, baby. See how your bumper big